Hey there, welcome to Gracie D Tai Chi. Today I'm going to show you 3 moves for opening your hips. They hold so much tension, and sometimes we just need to release the tension that's held in our hips, and these moves are the way to do it. So let's get into it. Alright, if you notice, I'm starting in a slightly wider stance than normal. Your wide horseback stance is going to be your starting position for a move called the looking glass. This is going to help initially loosen some of the waist, kind of warm up the hips before we go into a few other moves. I'm going to start with my hands up. My foot is now turned out to the corner so that my hands are right above it. And we're going to notice a lot of weight distribution like this from back and forth. Going around, turning this back foot, right? Opening that foot. Switching which hand is on top. Nice deep breath. You want your eyes, your gaze to fall into your hand, hence looking glass. And if you notice, my weight's going from the back as I bring up my foot to the forward position. And then as I rotate around, I'm going to distribute it once again to this side and back around, just like this. So your weight distribution is going from one leg to the other constantly. All right. So you get the gist. That is looking glass, and it's wonderful for smooth move, meditative feeling, nice calming, relaxing pose. We're going to go from that into turning the knee to the side. So we're going to be in an empty stance, which means I want all of my weight bearing in one hip, and I'm going to take my hand, turn the knee to the side, and place it down, just like this. When you are shifting your weight forward, we're going to shift the weight back so we can straighten our foot just enough to where you're comfortable. Distributing the weight to the opposite hip now, bringing up this leg, opening it to the side and down, distributing the weight back, anchoring that foot so we can do it again on the opposite side. Here is what I want you to consider. If you do not have fairly open hips, if this isn't something that you've been working on and your hips are super duper tight, don't worry about this full 90-degree turn. You're going to open your hip as much as you can and put your foot down where you need to, because obviously I've been doing this for a while, so my hips open pretty easily. But if you're just starting and you have really, really tight hips, it might just look like that, just a mini turn. Almost to the corner, like a little 30-degree turn. Not 100% open right angle. So don't force any stretching. You want to get to that point naturally. And it might not look the same. You may have one hip that's a little bit more open than your other hip. That's 100% natural. Kind of gives you an idea. Let's say your left hip is tighter, doesn't open the full 90 like your right hip. That just means you can work on your left hip just a tiny bit more and give it a little loving so that it gets a little bit more equal to your right. The last move we have is push waves. So I'm going to be shifting my weight into the back hip so I can rotate to the side. I'm going to take a step and I am easing my hands out and bringing everything back. So this motion of coming from the front to the back is really going to help relieve some tension in the hips. Something I want you to know, as always, you're not leaning all the way over like this. You are stretching your arms out. You don't want to do this because you're going to be off center, and you don't want that. You want to be 100% in your core. So taking that step, you're going to let yourself stop before you're leaning over like this. The next thing I want to mention is that my toe, I can always see it over my knee. You do not want to be so far leaned forward your knee is ever over your toe. And that's not just with this move, that's with any move in Tai Chi. So this is going to help us keep our body in line. Pulling that weight back is where we're really going to get that weight distribution from front to back. We're going to help open up the hips. One other thing, my foot is straight forward. This foot is out. So my legs are doing this kind of thing. So we're going to pull the weight back so we can rotate to the other side, taking that step, coming back. Just like this. Your hands are like creating the crest of the wave. So coming out and pulling back. Feel your body being the wave. And I don't care if that sounds hokey or weird. I promise you, your move will be so much softer and more fluid if you are imagining that your hands are the crest of that wave. Your body is everything underneath what we see when a wave is doing its thing on the shore. So I'm going to start from the back, and I'm going to go to this side. I hope you were able to see those ankles pretty well. Just 3 nice exercises to reduce some of the tension and tight hips. This can come from people who drive for a living, so they're in their car sitting down all day. People who work administrative jobs and they're sitting down all day. Another kind of industry I want to highlight that could really benefit from this hip opening segment is going to be people who have to lift for a living. If your job involves you lifting boxes, we're always told lift with your legs, not your back. But having nice open hips is really going to make that easier. So this would be a perfect exercise for you if you have a job that involves any kind of lifting like that. All right, full-length lessons, description box. There's a link there for my Patreon subscription. Otherwise, I will see you here on YouTube next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.